Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Another edition of Hidden Tracks. This week, I'm lucky to have a new friend, Jesse, from the amazing band out of Ohio and currently Brooklyn. The band's called CURTAIL. What's up, Jesse? How you doing, man?
What's up, man? It's so good to be on here with you, Shane. This is going to be fun.
I'm very excited from our brief little opening prior to hitting record. Just so people know, there's a lot that happens before and after the show, and we keep that to ourselves as memories. So,
yeah.
Sure. So how you doing, man? I mean, I know you guys have been working. Thank you so much for sending me the album that will be coming out soon that I'm really excited for. And, you know, what's been going on? How you been doing?
Oh, yeah. We've been, it's been good. We've been, so right now we're separate. I'm here in Brooklyn and they're back in Akron and Cleveland, Ohio. We will always be, an Akron and Cleveland band. I was working out here. And really, the pandemic kind of set us up because when we were going to record these songs for this album, it was during, 2020, we were writing remotely from each other and sending each other, not even voice memos, but we would open up, I use Studio One actually just for me. And we would be sending each other, song ideas, and we really were writing, for the first time, like many bands, we were writing remotely from each other. And that kind of that I had an opportunity to come out here. So I took that and, it's kind of, we've kept doing the remote writing since then.
Well, I'm happy you have. So I found you guys as I do diving and searching and scrolling through everything on Spotify and everything on Bandcamp. And I take my time to listen to things. And I heard this song. It was called Fair Amount of You. And I literally just stopped. And as soon as I hear a song that gets me, the first thing I do is go find everything else. Because everybody can write a song. I'm a firm believer that pretty much anyone who is talented enough in music can write a song.
Yeah.
And then you don't know what's coming after it. So that's why I have to do a dive and listen to everything else to find out. And literally listen to the entire album. And I was like, fuck yeah, I got to reach out to these guys.
No, that's that one from our 2018. That was our debut album, All Your Luck. Skeletal Lightning put that out. I loved it. That was our first single off of that, Fair Amount of You. This one, this album is a little more foot on the gas is what I would describe it as. But, I love All Your Luck still. But, this one, where I'm just super excited for everybody to hear the range. I mean, it's not, I don't want to say heavier because we weren't really trying to, just go heavier or anything. But there's just a lot more dynamics in it. It's a good growth, I think.
Yes, it's definitely, you can tell the difference in growth from that album because I've listened to the new one at least 4 times already.
Sweet.
And just to break it down and find my favorites and do as I normally do. But how did this all become a thing? Because I know you were all in other bands, and so how did this band come together?
Yeah, so rewind back to, we had started in 2015. I was in the band Cherry Cola Champions, which was a 2-piece emo band with my friend Tony. Ben was in Annabelle. Very great band. If you haven't heard of Annabelle, definitely check them out. Multiple awesome albums, full, U.S. tours, European tours, Japan a couple times. He's been all over. They opened for, Appleseed Cast for a month. there on their last album. Eric, the drummer, he was in The Ground is Lava, and Dan, the bass player, he was in a band called Bethesda, and we had history years ago. That was probably in 2008, 9, 10, and I had played in that band too before Cherry Cola Champions with him actually. So, but that was so right. So, how did Curtail come about? So, I was, Cherry Cola Champions was going for a more heavier, like a more heavier direction, and I still had all of these songs, and that I wouldn't, I was more into like at that point with Tony, and he's a metal drummer, and we were pushing the envelope. Like one of my influences for that would have been Drive Like Jehu style, like post hardcore. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that, Hot Snakes. And so I had all these songs that didn't really fit with what Tony and I were doing. And I wanted to start another project. And originally it was me, Ben on drums, and Dan. We were a 3-piece. And then Ben was not playing guitar. And really, he's a phenomenal guitarist. He's a decent drummer. He's a good drummer. And we ended up pulling Eric in just because we wanted, having, Ben just to play guitar, and sing too, because he's just so good. And we kind of, it was fun. It's, it was guys in bands for 10 years, at that point. And we've always been a rule, make decisions by committee. We write all our own parts. We keep it, fun. We kind of know what not to do, with each other. And, and it's just been a blast, and everybody gets to contribute. I love that part about Curtail. We're all calling the shots together, which is, it's cool.
That's awesome. Now, in the world that we live in, where everything has to have a label behind it, what would you consider, guys, to fall under for a genre label? And I'm only doing this because everything has a fucking label defined.
Absolutely, yeah. Because we were all emo kids, guys growing up. And also alternative rock. I remember, and you were talking to Julia about this in the Rap Boys episode. Just I remember music for me, changed when I was probably around 10. We didn't have cable, but I was at my grandparents' house, and I would be watching all of the alternative music videos on MTV and pop-up video. And I just remember that was like
grandparents had cable before like the normal people. Like it was the same thing. Like my grandparents had cable before I did. Like, yeah. And how did that work? Why did our grandparents have cable?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's funny. Like, yeah, mine definitely did. I don't know. They just had they had more money than us at the time, honestly. Maybe, but I don't know. But that was just a part that for me, something flipped in my head, a switch flipped in my head, hearing at 10 years old, like Sheryl Crow, Smashing Pumpkins, everything from the mid to late 90s. That really was, the last hurrah of alternative radio rock, really just like resonated with me. Changed my life, and then my older sisters, I have 2 older sisters, they showed me Jimmy Eat World when I was in middle school too. And I remember hearing, for me, this is heaven. And I remember, like you were saying, like, I remember just stopping what I was doing in my mom's room. We were on a CD player. Her boyfriend had burnt a copy of like a mixture of Jimmy Eat World songs. I just remember stopping, like, what is this? And, that kind of opened me up to more to Jimmy Eat World, to emo music. And then when I got into college, I got into the DIY emo scene. And even here, in the Northeast, like Ampere and 90s Screamo, and Page 99. And, it just ballooned from there for punk. That was my first experience with like punk DIY music. Honestly, it was college, like here or at Kent State. Where we all actually met. I met Ben when he was in Annabelle, and Eric and Dan. We all met in Kent, and Ben had went, to Kent Roosevelt High School, and then he went to Kent State. His band Annabelle. We used to play on fests. There was it was actually a church. It was called the Vineyard, but they had a couple fests there. One was Do It Together Fest, DIT Fest, and Berea Fest, which was in Cleveland, that the Sidekicks put on every year. That was kind of my opening to punk punk rock, and all of those bands. So what year? 2008, I guess it would have been. Yeah, I was 1920, and that was the start for me on a punk rock journey in music.
It's hard to get away from a journey once you start finding your own sound.
But the question really you asked, what is our genre? Sorry. I would say, a mixture of, right, because we were emo, like they would call it fourth wave emo, but emo, alternative rock. I mean, like we would say, like somebody had said that our last album, All Your Luck, was if Sheryl Crow wrote for Archers of Love, and that stuck with us. We thought that was hilarious. And then, this one we thought was more atmospheric. And we see it's just like from all of us growing up in the 90s and 2000s, like the 2Ks are back, baby. Like, but like I would say, like emo punk, alternative rock, some like Annie Zaleski she wrote our bio during All Your Luck when we had just put that out. And she even said we had some grunge pop spirals on that, and I thought, I don't know, that's a lot of labels there, but alternative rock, grunge, emo, punk. I guess we're covering all the bases.
Well, we definitely are, and I can definitely tell that you dove in and listened to some episodes, because I'll just let you go if you want to continue to answer the questions that have been posed to other people.
I didn't mean to. Sorry.
You make this easy on me. No, but I'm all joking aside. I mean, definitely from listening to your stuff, and I started showing it to some people and saying, "Hey, you got to check this out." And I don't care what you think, but what I said to somebody was, I was like, listen, you go back to the 90s, you take Failure, Hum, the Pixies, and Local H, you put them in a blender, you mix them up, that's the background noise. I go, and then the vocals stand on their own. I'm like, and that's kind of what I hear. And it's literally, it's funny because it's the sound that I get from you guys is completely something that's been gone to me for a long time. But it's a sound that I fell in love with and loved. And, there's a lot of bands from back then in the 90s that are starting to put out new albums again. Mm-hmm. But they're now in their 50s. So it's different. And you literally were able to capture that sound and create it and make it sound new. So I thank you for that.
That I love that's a cool. I'm going to write that down. That's great. I love Failure. I love Hum. Yeah, especially the new one. You get the Hum, that Hum reference of Failure. And that's so cool, man. You saying that like reminded me this album, When the Sway Sets, is coming out on Friend Club Records, which we're working with now. And actually, I tell you, we're actually also doing a vinyl split with Storm Chasers, to Storm Chasers Patreon members, with Evan Weiss from Into It Over It. So that's not known yet. So that's we're excited about that. So there you go, dropping it on the podcast. That's
breaking news.
We said it. But Jamie Lauren from Friend Club Records, he had a similar. That's funny that you said that, because his background, which is cool. I didn't know this when we first talked to them. We sent them the album at the end of last year, and he came back to us when we got on a Zoom call with him and Rob from Friend Club, and they've just been wonderful. But he was, from his history, he worked for Victory Records in the heyday, like 2000, 2001. But he had said similar things that you just said about this album, pulling some of those 90s, late 90s, early 2K references, but making it new again today. And still, like it's not nostalgic driven, it's rock for 2022. But yeah, that's really cool, man. I appreciate that. But Jamie said the same thing. So that's funny.
Yeah. And see, that's my thing. 'Cause there are a lot of people that go out there and they just take something and it's a nostalgia act. What I'm looking for is the nostalgia, but making it relevant to today. And what you sent me for your new album, I was like, as soon as I sat down, put the headphones on, started listening to it. I mean, it starts with the first song, All Along. Like it just literally kicks in, and I'm just like, fuck yeah, now I'm in. And that's how you got to get me too. It's I think song placement on albums is really important when you're putting something together too.
Yeah,
it's like I need to be caught and I was caught right away. And I was just like, all right, let's fucking do this. And I went I literally was sitting down at my desk with the computer, listening to it with my headphones on, and just literally stopped, and I went back to the first song again and played it all the way through. I was like,
that's cool, because Jamie, that's funny. I'm glad all along, Jamie wanted that to be one of the singles, and we were like, well, that's cool. We ended up, we're going different. IDK is the first single, and the second single, which I can say on here, it'll be coming out in April, is actually we were going with Blue Violet as the second single,
oh my God. So that's could be one of my favorite songs on.
Cool. Oh, cool. Yeah. we didn't, because it's so, I'll tell you, that's one cool thing. Even the guy, like us, the guy, and the guys, and talking about, placement of songs is so important. But single selection, because the band always, it seems like historically, when you read articles of other people, it's like, we might have thought, we did not that we didn't think that was a single, but it's cool to hear what other people think, and to help your perspective. Well,
it's hard for you to pinpoint and say, hey, this is the song, a song that you've played over and over again. You've listened through mixing and producing and recording and writing, and you've played it so many times. It's hard for you to dial it in, and sometimes it needs that fresh ear for somebody to just be like, hey man, this is the song.
That's cool. I'm glad to hear about Blue Violet. That was one of the late additions to we actually, with When the Sway Sets, we recorded 22 songs. In December, we started December of 2019. No, excuse me. Gosh, December of 2020. We started the drums and we recorded them. Eric did all of the drums in one weekend for 22 songs. And it was because we rented a really nice place in Greene, Ohio, Copperhead Compositions, where our friend Alex, I worked at a venue in Akron called Musica, and Alex was one of the sound guys, and he helped us with the drums. But then, so we recorded all the drums in one weekend with Alex in Copperhead Compositions for When the Sway Sets, and then everything else we did at Ben's studio, home studio. Guitars, vocals, and Ben produced it. Really, he is, I don't know, Ben is so talented. He's a mastermind to me. He helps. Like, I get to start with the songs and the riff, the melody, and what everybody brings, but what Ben brings is special. He just adds so much, even in the studio, especially. So, anyhow, but
so do I have the wrong person on the show right now? I should have been talking about.
Yeah, we yeah, for sure. He yeah, we were, we had mentioned, we were like, oh, should we have two of us? But you're right. I think he's cool. One-on-one, it's cool. It makes more sense to do the
No, listen, there's always a home for anyone that wants to come on and talk that's in a band that I like. So if he wants to come on and tell me how good he is, or tell me how good you are, then we can do that too.
Heck yeah. Yeah, that'll be the next one. Yeah.
But I mean, so going back, I mean, and seeing things that were going on, 2020 kind of took a toll for you guys, right? You were set to go on tour, and there was this crazy thing that happened in 2020. If people don't know, 2020 was a rough year for a lot of people. So
yes, yeah, we had
alert.
Yeah. We had a couple weekends. We were going out with Mush from Chicago, which is actually Ben's brother, Andy, who's also in Annabelle, plays in several bands in Chicago. And we were going to do a run with them, which that got canceled. We had actually, though, right before the pandemic, the date, I forget, we got to open for the Get Up Kids in Canton. And that was one of our. It's probably is my favorite show that we've been able to play. And it was right before. Things started closing down. I believe it was in March, and everything shut down like just weeks after that.
Yeah, I was at the last show before New York City shut down, and it was the Get Up Kids and Dashboard.
Yeah, they were with Dashboard. One of their off days from that tour, they had a night off, and they did a solo gig in Canton, and we opened for them without Dashboard. But yeah, that would have been so cool. Where did they play here in the city?
Webster Hall.
Okay, Webster. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be cool. That would have been sick. So it was cool for us too. I could tell you because I mean, Eric, our drummer, loves the Get Up Kid. I mean, so do I. We grow up, but Eric worshipped them. But we got to hang out with them after the show. There's an arcade down the street from the Oracle where we played, and we were hanging out with all of them, Matt, and it was funny. I'll tell you one funny story. They had one of the members he owns a venue bar where they're from. And he had, I don't know, this was funny. He had like a bottle of tequila that it was like I think it was a zone. If it was there, it was like a newer brand from that area. And I wasn't thinking anything of it. He's like, oh, you should try it here. And I just grabbed the bottle from him. And I just took a big swig of it. He's like, no, wait. Because he was like, it's COVID because they were already thinking about it. I wasn't even thinking about it. It was funny. We had a laugh because I took his bottle of tequila and drank from it. But it was anyway. But we got to hang out with them at the arcade, and it was just Matt had some really nice things to say. So Matt Pryor, it was cool to sit with him and pick his brain.
Nice. That's a great experience, especially for a band like that. I mean, I've told stories many times. I've seen the Get Up Kids from playing in front of 12 people at a roller rink in the 90s to playing in front of thousands of people. So just to see a progression of a band like that, and like that's the kind of stuff that I live for, and just being like, I was there at the ground level, and now look at what they're doing, and they're this is great, and they never reached the heights of everyone else that they were always playing with, and for people that opened for them, but they're just that amazing. Get Up Kid, just an amazing band, bunch of amazing artists in that band. Jim, Matt, everybody in that band's awesome.
Yeah, that's so true too. About so yeah, it was a big deal for us to play with them, and hopefully if that we'll go. Hopefully we'll be able to go on tour with them. That would be great. Yeah.
So growing up, I mean, you already gave me your story of when things changed for you, so that's awesome. We got that out of the way. But when did you first start? Music becoming a thing for you, and when did you start playing music? How was it? Was it piano lessons? Was it you had to pick something in band in school or something, or how did you just start to want to play music?
Yeah, my dad played guitar and sang. I started later, and it wasn't with lessons. I started playing on an acoustic guitar. My older sister played as well. So we were, a musical family for sure. And I didn't start until I think it was 13 or 14. So I kind of started later, but I picked it up pretty quickly. I didn't even have my first band until I was in college, actually, like a real band.
What was the name of your first band?
The name of the first band was Last Minute Panic. It was with our friend Dan, who actually took the pictures of all of our promo pictures for this album. Dan Cromaz, not Dan Corby, our bass player, but Dan. It was his band, and I was in his band. He was like a punk. He was like a gutter punk kid from Parma. And yeah, it was called Last Minute Panic. And we had he liked the Bronx, and we were like a mixture of and I was like a emo kid at the time. I was like a little scenester back at that time. So we had like a mixture of, I would scream and I was on guitar and he was on guitar, and he had it was cool. It was actually a really cool project. I always tell him, you bring it back, Dan, bring it back. Cause he's not playing anymore, but he was great. It was, but yeah, that was my first, and we didn't even play. We only had a couple shows, and then I started playing in Bethesda in Kent, which was more of like an indie lo-fi project that I was just playing electric guitar and with Dan Corby, our bass player, and Eric and Shanna. And that was actually, but I met Ben through playing in Bethesda, playing with Annabelle and Eric in The Ground is Lava. We met them playing at the Vineyard in Kent at those different shows. And so I had always respected Ben and Eric, but we were always in different opposite bands until fast forward 10 years really, because that was. And then, Annabelle had had put out their last album and went on the tour with Appleseed Cast, and then they kind of took a little bit of a break, and that was when CURTAIL started. But they're back. They're working on new stuff now too, which I'm really excited for them. New Annabelle material is on the way. So that's cool too.
Awesome. So growing up in a musical family and, having music around, it shapes you a lot. Did you go to shows and stuff? Did your parents ever drag you to a concert? Do you remember your first concert you had ever gone to growing up?
Yeah, my dad took me. He liked James Taylor. He liked also, like the the yacht rock scene of like Mike and the Mechanics.
Seals and Croft.
Yeah, Seals and Croft. My dad was that, like Summer Breeze, like those. But my first show, I think, with him, was James Taylor, and I was a kid, but I would sing all the songs, and we were up front. I think somehow we got some tickets at Blossom, which is like an outdoor pavilion amphitheater south of Cleveland. And, we were up front, and I don't know, somebody, had made a comment because I was singing along to every song, and I was probably only 6, so, but, so there's the melody, really, if you think, because Curtail really does have a lot of melody.
Yeah.
So,
what was the first show you got to pick to go to? What was your first show?
That's great. I was in Florida. I actually grew up in Florida, so that was, I remember going to see Glassjaw and the Juliana Theory at House of Blues Orlando.
Wow.
I must have been 14 or 15, but they that was the one that was like without your parents going to a show with your friends. Somebody else drove us, and I really liked the Juliana Theory then too. I got to know Glassjaw from that show. Their music, but that was probably the first one. We always joke too. My sisters showed me so much music too as a kid. Like I remember the first compact disc I had, CD, was Oasis, What's the Story, Morning Glory, and I took it from my sister. So that was that's a big, actually, when I think of Curtail though, we love Oasis.
Nice.
Well.
You want some random knowledge, a Snapple fact? Do you know who had the very first CD ever made?
Goodness. Who?
Billy Joel.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Billy Joel is the first artist to ever have a CD. Yeah. I figured they would have taught you that when you moved into New York.
Yeah, that should be like, required knowledge. Like Uptown. I love Uptown Girl. I was just listening to that song the other day, and I was just, you know what? Leave Billy Joel alone, everybody.
Do you have a favorite concert you've ever been to?
We were talking about that's funny because we had all gone as a group, and growing up in, I grew up in Florida, but being in Northeast Ohio, which is where my family was all from originally, Blossom was like a shared experience for all of us in the band because we all would go there for different shows, but we all went together to see Incubus and Jimmy Eat World. Who else? Who else was on that big tour that they did a couple years back? And believe that one, believe it or not, was up there because my girlfriend, we both love Incubus, and we were saying, the 2Ks get such a hard time from music critics, but Incubus and Deftones, don't get me going. We could talk about some 2K rock.
I got the Deftones coming up in May. I'm really excited. So
yeah. So that's crazy. Well, we saw the Smashing Pumpkins too on their last tour at Blossom together as a band. We all went, and we went to Incubus all together, which is fun. These guys in their 30s, going to shows together.
There's nothing wrong with that. I go to shows with people all the time. I'm literally had to rent a hotel room recently for a show coming up in April because there's going to be a bunch of us going. I'm like, listen, we're in our 40s. We're in our mid 40s, man. We're old fuckers, and we're like still renting rooms to get all of us crammed into a room to go to a show. But hey, that's what we do, man. We enjoy the music, so we're willing to do anything we can for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, yeah. Like I hope it never changes either, right?
Yeah. So that being your favorite show you've ever gone to, I mean, is there a moment in time or somewhere, and this is where I try to tell people, keep your expectations down a little bit. Everybody wants to play Madison Square Garden, but is there a venue somewhere that you've always just been like, I just want to play there so bad?
Yeah. Definitely. Well, yeah. I mean, speaking of Madison Square Garden, I actually, you will like this one, Shane. When I got here in the city, I started working at a newer venue here called Brooklyn Made. It's in Bushwick, it's like by the Jefferson stop off on Troutman, but it just opened in September, and I had gone. It's a smaller room, so it's about 500, 550 cap.
It's
But
perfect.
they have, they do. I mean, the sound and the lighting there is they're a solo promoter. They're fighting the good fight against Live Nation, and they also book at Union Palace up in Washington Park area. I think we have a Wilco residency coming up there for 5 days. They asked me to be the runner, so that was like some dream stuff. I was like, oh yeah, I'll be a runner for Wilco. Like that would be sick. But yeah, actually, I want to play at Brooklyn Made, and believe it or not, they have the coolest sound. It's like a spaceship. I can't even. I know it's like I'm doing like a horrible justice, but the sound system and lighting that they put in the room it's crazy. The first show I went there was Band of Horses. Did 3 nights there, and that was when I asked. I said, "Who's the production manager?" And I talked to Daniel that night, and I got the job.
It's awesome.
At the Band of Horses show. But it was yeah, I mean, it was like one of those, yeah, you're like crying at the show. So awesome. Like being that close to Ben, seeing people in that small room, like, I don't know, like yeah, it does something to you,
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like small venues. One of the things that I love bands from all over the world. So what's crazy to me is when I get to see a band, like I have a show coming up, a band called Biffy Clyro from Scotland. They play in front of 100,000 to 200,000 people constantly at all these festivals out there, and they're headliners. They come to the city, they play Irving Plaza. And to me, just being able to be in a small room like that to see a band who is so grandiose that people fly from Scotland to see them in that small venue because they never get another chance to see them in a small venue is just, small venues are something that constantly need to be popping up. And I want them to all do well because it's just giving people that are talented, and I've seen some shitty bands in small venues too, but just a place to call home and a place to go.
Yeah, I'm looking at their discography too right now. I know Biffy Clyro. That's sick, man. I've never seen them live.
They put on, I've seen them like 5 times now. They put on one of the best live performances you could ever see. And the sound coming out of a 3-piece band that they do just will fuck with your mind. You'll be like, fuck, for an artist, you're like, I'm never going to be able to play music like that good with only fucking 3 people. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. No, next time they're in the city, let me know. We'll have to go.
They're going to be here on, I'll tell you, I already got my tickets. They're playing Irving Plaza. I think it's April 27th or something. It's a Sunday. The Sunday.
Oh, cool. I'm writing this down. Mm-hmm. And I still, there's like, I have a list of venues. There's so many venues here. I've only been here a year. I have not been to Irving Plaza yet. I was going to tell you one other favorite, let's say even just the last year, favorite one that I wanted to plug. Well, I went to LPR, Le Poisson Rouge.
Yeah, I was just there 2 weeks ago.
Oh, cool. Who'd you see?
Foxy Shazam.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. I saw Old Man Gloom there, which was, like members of ISIS. And that was an experience. That was in the fall, and that blew me away. Seeing Old Man Gloom there. That would probably have been my favorite. I'm not leaving Incubus as the top favorite. Shame.
Listen, you don't have to throw cool answers out. It's fine.
They had a Stargate portal though on it was great. The Incubus tour. It was like a freaking Stargate portal. But no, we were down front, and it was more, I think, too, just like who I was with, and I mean, no, the show was awesome, and it was the first time I had ever seen them, and it just, it brought me back to like 17-year-old me, yeah, like singing Stellar and Aqueous Transmission, or with the Ender on, Morning View, but But yeah, so I'm knocking off all these venues here, Shane. There's so many to go to. It's like,
there's so many. Just where you live in Brooklyn, there's so many. And I've kind of started to come up with the rule, and in my life is because there are so many venues, and now that Brooklyn has become the hotspot, I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, if I got to go over two bridges, I really have to consider about going to that show. Because for me, it's two bridges to get to Brooklyn, and I'm just like,
Yeah, no, I hear it. I roll on the
yeah. I'm like, oh man, I'm like, I really want to go, and like, I love Music Hall of Williamsburg, Rough Trade, like, I love all of them out there, but at some point, it's just like, man, unless I'm really, really invested in that artist, I'm gonna have to, think about it before I pull the trigger, because I'm like, it's work, it's work to get there.
Yeah, it is. No, I hear you. It's yeah, even just one bridge, right, or one tunnel. Yeah, I'm learning. Once you're there, you just stay. Yeah, you don't leave. But I actually, speaking of Music Hall of Williamsburg, I saw Rat Boys and Wild Pink on their last tour there, and that was a great show. And we had Julia on. I saw Not a Surf there, which I didn't realize he had lived down. He lived down the street from there and wrote most of his, like, that era. Oh, which era of, like, Inside of Love, like, was all written down the street, from there. But that was a great, seeing Not a Surf there was a good one too.
Yeah, I missed that Rat Boys Wild Pink. I was supposed to see them, had tickets, and I think they were playing with Mom Jeans, and then COVID hit, and then of course when Rat Boys came back around, I was away. So,
oh yeah, that was a great show. It was. We actually had got it originally, Cherry Cola Champions. We were on a label, Texas is Funny, with Wild Pink, and so it was. Being here, John's back in the city, and we live close to each other. I get to see him often, and it's really cool to just be hanging with him, because they're doing such. I mean, Wild Pink's a great band, and just what he's doing is so cool. So, yeah, it's like, rub off on me, John. Yeah.
So, do you have? And I mean, listen, you have one full length out and a couple singles, but you have a new album coming out. So, do you have a song that stands out? This is where I say pick your favorite child. Do you have a favorite song that's written and recorded that you've done already? Something that just stands out to you that like this is my favorite so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool that you got to hear. We're so excited about this album, and even the 10 B-sides that we have, that we're going to either do EPs or we're not sure what we're doing with them yet. But we wish we could have put more on it. But, it's cool that you got to hear it, because honestly, Blue Violet is up there for me. IDK is up there for me personally. I don't even know how that riff came about. Like, it was in the basement of my house, and I sent it to the IDK, the riff, and I sent it to. I wrote that whole song in, I think, 1 hour. Which was crazy. You have those people have those moments.
Yeah, there's those moments, like, what did Girl say he wrote Everlong in 18 minutes?
Oh, man, that's nuts. That's one of the greatest loves. Ben and I talk about this, Shane. One of the greatest love rock songs of all time, Everlong. Like, God, one of our favorite songs.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. 18 minutes? That's
yeah.
That's sick.
It's crazy. Yeah. Listen, but there's those moments that happen, and that's, it stands out because, listen, it doesn't happen a lot, but when it does happen, it's cool. And if it is something fucking great, it makes it that much better. You're just like, holy shit. Like, look at what I was able to do in a short period of time.
Yeah. And for me, honestly, I don't know. This is, I mean, everybody, I think what bands, you're hopefully whatever you're about to be putting out should, be you're most excited about it. And it's probably hopefully your favorite thing that you've done, which it is for us. But yeah, just that I'm so proud of this record, and I'm so glad that Friend Club is believing in us, putting it out on vinyl. We're touring. We got the release date. You're hearing it here first, Shane. So June 3rd in Akron at Musica, and then June 4th in Chicago, and then we're doing a longer run, like a 10-day or 12-day in July. Beginning of July. So we'll be coming East Coast. So we'll be coming to New York. I'm not sure where yet, but that's the start off rip, like what we're planning on doing.
Nice. Well, as long as I'm in town, I will be there.
Yeah, heck yeah. So we can see. But yeah, and then Blue Violet, we could just, I know people haven't heard it yet, but there was something. It was just the song. I don't know. I never felt like even the bridge. I don't know. We want the bridge to be in movies somewhere, but just I don't know how both of those IDK and Blue Violet for me just stood out. Blue Violet just being such a. I mean, it's a heartbreaking song. Honestly, melancholic. It's a love story that ends very sadly and tragically. But yeah, I don't know. Those two are stand out for me right now. And All Along is up there too. All Along was up there too.
And I'm not gonna sit here and blow smoke up your ass, but the album is fantastic, and the song placement, if that's the way it's going to stay, of what you sent me, is perfect. I mean, the transitions from songs, because Haya to Blue Violet, like it was, I was really into Haya, and then Blue Violet came on, and I was like, oh shit,
holy shit, yeah.
I was like, okay, I think that, and then it ends on Sway, and I was just like, fucking A. I was like, all right, this is why I love finding music, because it was just it was seamless. You put together something, you could tell you put a lot more effort into it than your first album, which is still fantastic. That's why I found you, but you can tell the maturity of what came from everything, from every instrument, from the songwriting to recording. Like, it was just, I was so impressed when I listened to it. I was just like, wow. I was like, they just went, from here, and okay, I'm going to skip 4 levels and jump ahead to the 5th level. And here we are now. So congratulations for that.
Thank you. No, seriously, you hit it on the head. And honestly, the song placement too. And honestly, Ben, what a great, you're right. I mean, the move, it's an album to listen to, yes. I mean, listen to the whole in order, and those two, Into the Particle and Hard to Breathe are two. I love the bridge that we came up with Eric. The in Hard to Breathe, we originally nicknamed that song Moby's Dick, because it was, instead of Moby Dick, like the Led Zeppelin song, we said Moby's Dick because we were joking and just a play on the, Moby from the 90s. So that was our running title, but we didn't end up naming it that, but that's what we call it to each other. But I love that bridge, man. What we came up with too is just the instrumental. We can't wait for people to hear that one too. So yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you guys, because listen, I love it, and I know I'm not going to stand alone. So that's what I'm excited for.
Hell yeah, yeah.
Now,
this is perfect. Hopefully we can get some strikes of luck and some good press, and
yeah. Well, I'll do what I can.
This is it. This is exactly what I was saying. It's like coming on. This is such a cool platform. So it's an honor to be on here, man. Like, just listening and watching and seeing all the other people who've been on it already.
Well, thank you for that. Now, if someone were to ask you, you told them you're in a band, you're just walking around, what song of yours would you play for them? Would it be Blue Violet, or sometimes you look at people and you got to judge them for what you think they would like. But if you didn't have to ask a question and you just had a song at the ready, what song of yours would you play for them to say, hey, this is what we're all about? Would it be Blue Violet?
It would be, yeah, you're right. It would be depend on who, who they are, because we, the band thought Haya and even Porches might have been the first 2 singles. IDK. We thought Blue Violet was like a dark horse candidate.
I think Through the Gleam too is a great fucking song for a single. Like, I just think it hits on all cylinders.
Yeah. We've thought about that one too, and then it's like, God, yeah.
Just put the album out. Fuck singles.
Yeah. But yeah, I would lead. You're right. It depends who it was with. If it was somebody that's funny. If it was like my dad loves Haya. If it was somebody my parents' age, I would show him Haya. If it was somebody our age, I would show him either IDK or maybe Blue Violet. Yeah, I would show him. Actually, it would be IDK first. It would, just because it just gets at you quickly.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So here's one for you. Day you got your driver's license, what were you blasting in your car?
Oh man. So let's see. You would like this one. We Ben and I talked about this. My sister, one of my older sisters, showed me this band. There was a band from, dang it, were they Swedish or were they? It was, the band's called Kent. Have you ever heard of the band Kent? Kent. Their album Isola, and actually I'm looking up right now. It was like early 2K. It was late 90s when that came out. Isola. My sister gave me a burnt copy of that, and it still was probably in my top 10 favorite rock albums of all time, and they never got their due. Like Kent, and to me, they're a huge influence. Such melodic rock, and they did an English version of that album because everything else was in Swedish. And honestly, I had that CD in my car forever. I mean, me and Ben joke. I mean, yeah, the Foo Fighters would have been up there too, Everlong. That whole CD. Who else? It would have been. Me and Ben joke too because Ben was actually on the street team for him, but Chevelle. We loved Chevelle too. We had a love for Chevelle. So yeah. Wonder What's Next is such a banger. I had that in my car. I had it was funny. In Lakeland, Florida, I had a Ford Explorer with dark tinted windows, and it was, but yeah, it was. We would be rocking out in there, smoking blunts.
I think you just described half of America's first car.
Yeah,
it was either like a Honda Civic, an old Honda Civic, or
like a 95. Yeah. That was a 95 Explorer. Yeah. Oh man, we'd put your friends in it. Yeah, I mean, we'd rock out. Let me see. Where the heck was Ken from?
They're from Sweden.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, they were from Sweden, and they were a Swedish band. They, all their albums were Swedish named, and had a lot of dots on them and a lot of lines over the words.
Yeah.
So,
and then they just did right. They did that. I still think it's criminally underrated. Yeah. The album. That's a big influence for CURTAIL, actually. So
awesome. Well, the band coming out tomorrow, which you guys. No one can place this when we record it, but the band that is coming out tomorrow is from Sweden. So,
oh shoot! Oh cool. Who is it?
Star Market.
Oh, okay. I'm writing it. Hell yeah! Well, they'll know Kent.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
That's sick. I'll check them out.
So, there's certain things that happen in life, and there's certain bands that you cling on to for certain reasons. And I mean, you've mentioned a couple bands, a few times here, but there's a point where things you grasp onto a band, and just everything they do is just perfect to you. And listen, don't get me wrong, great bands write shitty songs. Not everybody puts out 10 albums in a row that are fantastic, but Rolling Stone categorizes as your favorite band. I don't like to do that. I like to ask, is there a band that just never lets you down, or they may not still be making music, but when they were, they just never let you down anytime they came out with something?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because right, some bands when they get a little bit older, it's like, I don't know, it's not the quality. But it's like I think you lose your edge.
You kind of throw it in after a while too. Like you kind of throw in the towel when you've been doing it, really long, and you can tell that. But at the same time, there are bands that they'll still put out an album and it's got 12 songs on it, and 6 of them or 7 of them are fucking awesome, and the other ones are just, you're like, why the fuck would they put this on an album? But you still are in love with them and appreciate what they're doing. So that's why I say, bands that never let you down, it's something that you could always turn back to and count on.
Yeah. I would even go closer to a peer on this one, and not, just because I was just listening to his discography. But yeah, I think Evan, Into It, Over It has always delivered on
everything he does.
Yeah. He's a pro, and the new members, Joe, the new guitarist that he got, I mean, he's doing compositions for them, like string quartet stuff, along, or like writing, orchestral parts for Into It, Over It songs, and and even just working with Evan now again with this album was like a dream, because I looked up to him when Standards came out, when I was in Cherry Cola Champions. yeah, it was like, oh man, it's just like, yeah, but he's built. I say, yeah, he's built an empire for himself, and he's surrounded himself with great people, and he's so hardworking. He's smart. He knows gear. He knows so much about everything in the industry. And yeah, I think I was listening to Standards the other day because it was his 6-year anniversary. I forgot the whole thing was analog. So I was listening I just got some new studio headphones that I had to replace. My other one's broke, but I was just listening through that. But yeah, Into It Over It. I would say for our age, if we were going big, I would say I think Jimmy Eat World for me is up there. I think there's always songs that I find on even their newer ones that I still love. Maybe I don't love every song on the newer ones, but they're always. Jim Ekins is a huge inspiration too with his. His podcast too, Shifting Frequencies or whatever. He does everything he does. Those live. Did you see those two while the pandemic was going on? They did those two, the live out like full album. They just played through. They played through Clarity and they played through Futures.
Yeah, I didn't watch him. I know my buddy did. I have a love-hate relationship with Jimmy Eat World for some reason.
Go on.
Well, my love-hate relationship with them are. I was so into. I saw Jimmy Eat World at firehouses, roller skating rinks. I was there the first time they performed Lucky Denver Mint.
Yeah.
And for me, they had, I think, the greatest 3-album progression I think I've ever seen in a band, from Static Prevails to Clarity to Bleed American, which it's my Bleed American. I know it came out on that shitty day, but that's I have it. And
that's the name. Yeah, that's the name of the album. We don't need to change it. It just happened to be
it just happened to be what it was. But for me, those 3 albums in a row was just, I was like, to watch a band create 3 albums that I hold so near and dear to my heart and blow up the way they did. My wife and I walked out at our wedding procession. We've been married for quite a while now, but to Sweetness, and because it was just like a perfect song, how it kicks in. And I was like, I never thought seeing, the first time I saw them, Static Prevails had literally just come out. So I'm talking, I've been seeing them for a long time. And then it just kind of seemed like, okay, we found what we do, and with Bleed American, and they just kept trying to do that again. And it never, they had that moment at that time, which is awesome. And I love bands getting their moment and their just due, and everyone falling in love with them and liking them. But it was just like, I think the last album that just came out was the most progressive album that's come out of their last 4.
Yeah.
They changed it up. And that's what I'm always looking for. You don't have to change everything completely, but it was like they found their formula. This is what we're going to do. And this is what got people to know us. So we're going to continue to do it. And I got a little disappointed.
Yeah. No, I hear that. That's a good take. Seriously, it is after the Futures, or once it was
chasing Futures. And it was just listen, Futures is a really good album. Chasing, they're all really good albums. But for me, I don't know. I was always left when I was done listening to it wanting more. I just wanted something more. I'm like, all right, it kind of seems like I've heard these songs before. And that's where I sometimes struggle with bands, especially when you fall in love with a band. Like I said, they had, next to Radiohead, okay?
Yeah.
Jimmy, the first 3 albums of Radiohead are just a huge progression, and it's just like, fuck, I didn't know bands could do that. And then for me, on the indie scene, it was Jimmy Eat World had 3 albums that were all completely different, but all perfect.
Yeah. No, that was my favorite 3 too, because the CD that my sister gave me also had Static Prevails songs on it as well. So I grew up, Static Prevails, Clarity, and Bleed American. You hit it on the head. I remember when they had leaked. Somebody leaked. You remember when all the demos for Bleed American came out, leaked early? I think on like Napster and stuff, or you could hear like the sweetness before, you know, I don't know, before anything would, you know, that was crazy. I remember listening to those. But yeah, that's cool, man. I would love to talk to people more too about Static Prevails. Go give me what's your favorite, if you have just one, what's your favorite?
So I'll tell you right now, and my favorite Jimmy Eat World song isn't even a Jim Adkins song.
Heck yeah, it's Tom. Cool.
Yeah,
All right.
Tom. It's Rockstar.
Yeah. That's cool.
I mean, and to me, that just, I don't know what happened in that aspect either, because Tom did a lot of stuff on Static Prevails. And then, you know, Jim came to the forefront. And listen, I mean, I have, you know, the demo of Go Big Casino, you know, before Jim just put everything under his own name to record stuff. But when he broke away and did a solo song, and the name of the band was Go Big Casino, like that was, I was like, all right. So
I didn't even hear. I have to go listen to that. Honestly, that's funny.
I don't know if you can find it. It was on a CD in Canada, Canadian sampler. I could, you know, people, disclaimer, I may be able to make a copy and send it to you, Jesse, but
right.
But yeah, so I mean, for that type of band, and again, I love Jimmy Eat World, but I mean, one of my best friends is just bleeds Jimmy Eat World, and he's like, oh dude, it's so, I'm like, listen man, I get it. Yeah. You're allowed to love everything. I don't have to, because there's enough people like you that love it as much as you do, everything they do. And that's great. I'm fine with that, because it's still good music. I just don't have to be as into it as I was for those 3 albums. I mean, Clarity to me, I've told people hundreds of times, I'm like, do you want to know the meaning of emo? Listen to Jimmy Eat World's Clarity. Yeah. That's the meaning. Sure. That's what emo was
to me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's the quintessential emo album.
Yeah, I agree. Even more so than, that's what I'd say too, actually. Like what in my head. So more so than others. Yeah. That's great with this. I was going, oh man. Yeah. I love the one where Tom is like, yeah, a monster lives in your backyard. Was it Caveman? No, what was it? That's not World of Static, or is it? Which one was that? God, I'm the worst with names. I will tell you this, Shane. You'll think we have 2 historians in the band, and it's funny. I'm like such a spazzy on the spectrum of ADHD somewhere. I shoot from the hip, and perspective is so important in music. So do not but Eric and Ben are the ones that will tell you. You know, they can tell you like what happens on what second of a song. You know, like. And Eric can rattle off probably the entire Beatles discography, and it's like, but it's good. We have a good mix, but that's not me. Even when I'm like, oh man, what was the, you know, I'm the funny just with memory, but that whole album is so good.
Yeah, I mean, and to show you that I've been into them since day one, I have their very first CD that ever came out. It's actually. Before,
it was like punk. Would that pop punk more?
Yeah,
wouldn't
it was punk. Like it was punk, and like I don't know. Apparently, in Discogs, it goes for a hefty price. But I'm like that's how long I've been into them, and getting to see them grow. I was just like, this is awesome. And then again, they found their form. Good for them. A lot of bands do that, and a lot of bands continue to grow and be as big as they are. But I mean, yeah, I guess I can stop. Not trying not to shit on them. I'm not. They're still great.
No, you're good. No, you're right. I fell off on Chase This Light too, actually, a little bit. Like it was, it was tough. I'm with you. Actually, I hear that. It's tough. But you're right. Yeah, Damage has some bangers on it that I liked, and then Surviving. You're right. Is like a good return to form, or really interesting. And
it's also crazy to think about how many albums they have now. Like, to me, like for some bands that have their moment and then they just quietly go away, but good on them. They just constantly crank out music, which is great, and that, I think that's the big thing. And I think that's what gets lost too with music is, there have been some amazing 1.5 or 2 album bands. Amazing bands that were 2 albums and you never heard of them
2 again. And done. Yeah. And then it's like, what happened? Yeah. Where did they, That's so true. I would put. I remember. Yeah, I would. Static Prevails was like material for mixtapes. I was sending that. Yeah, I remember making mixtapes for someone or some. Yeah, with those on there, just because. Yeah, I don't know. That I just resonated with Jimmy World as a adolescent. Like that opened up the musical world for me. In a lot of ways.
It was a great time in music. That's when things were popping off, and other bands that I never thought people would ever hear of them before were for me, one of those bands was At the Drive-In. I saw them open for the Get Up Kids.
Yeah,
and seeing At the Drive-In, it was like the show was like At the Drive-In, Hot Rod Circuit, and the Get Up Kids, and I see this band At the Drive-In, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, these guys are amazing. It's so sad no one's ever going to hear of them. Yeah. And I was wrong. Thank God I was wrong.
Yeah, no, that's a good, them too. Like, goodness, yeah.
All right, so let's go on to something more fun. For someone who's in a band and is creating the music that you are currently creating, do you have it's categorized as a guilty pleasure, but something that people would be really surprised you get a lot of enjoyment out listening to?
Yeah, let's see. I'm looking. Oh man, let me go to even just my recents right now. Rattle them. I would say too. Even from my dad, like the influence he had. I love listening to like Michael McDonald and Christopher Cross and
okay. You don't have to continue. Yeah, we're good. All right.
Yeah, Mike and the Mechanics. I don't know. They're like that's funny. The Living Years and oh man.
Well, it's just
Running.
It's just another great person from the band Genesis. So I mean, that's really
true. It's all Genesis derivatives. Yeah. It all stemmed from there. Now, who else? Like, who knew? I like. Not that it's even. I liked because he did an album. George Clanton did an album with Nick Hexum from 311, and it what was it, a couple years ago, and that was my most listened to album even last year. It's like I don't even like. I don't know. It's like 311 with electronic, produced by an electronic guy like George Clanton. I didn't know he just turned 40. He's from Richmond, Virginia. But I was like, dang, but I don't know. I really love that album, and I don't think anybody ever. That's kind of a cool, just side one with Nick Hexum, and it's great. Like Nick's now a father figure for us. 311, he's chilled out. I was joking with Matt Schuerman online about Nick Hexum being a father figure to us now.
Hey, listen, 311 has one of my favorite summer songs of all time. So
yes, I'm on this huge 311 thing too, man. Where it's somebody was saying, there's what the podcast they do. She does a great job. Bandsplain. She did the 311 one. But yeah, it's they were talking about, Sublime got their flowers and 311 never did, and it was, and yeah, I don't know. I just think people that listen to 311 aren't on Twitter and don't give a shit for the most part,
I think they got their just due. I mean, Down was a huge hit. I mean, that album was a huge fucking album.
That's cool. I agree. I love, that. I've been, 311 was in my top 5, artists last year too. Which I love it. It was, we're joking. Maybe you would love this too. We just came out with a visual for IDK, which is the Winamp, screensavers. The audio visualization. I remember being, when your parents had the computer in their room, I remember having Winamp and, just being turning on a song, just being whoa, watching the screensavers of the audio frequencies making, those graphics. Yeah. But yeah, so we just put that out. So we're on a big 2K kick was what I was going on. Give 311 their flowers. I'm teasing. Get off my lawn. Zoomers. I'm kidding.
Hey, listen, I remember getting Grassroots in high school. I mean, I think that was their second album. Their first album, I think, was Music. Their second one was Grassroots. But I remember getting Grassroots in when I was in high school. So that's dating myself. So.
Yeah, no, and that one had which one had Use of Time? No, that was the one after that. Was that Trend? That was on Transistor.
Well, Down was the next one, and Transistor was right after Down. So
yeah, that was on Transistor. But that was.
Well, I can't believe I'm throwing out 311 knowledge right now. That's crazy that I
love it. Oh, it's so cool, seriously. Yeah, I want to see them. Anyway, if they come through, which I forget when they're, we'll have to, yeah. Dude, I'm serious, Shane. You got to take me. True story, I haven't been to Webster Hall yet. Out of all the places.
All right, I think there's a couple shows coming up at Webster Hall that I was looking at. One of them I gave up on because I was like, it's a Monday night show and they're playing at Asbury Lanes in Jersey on I think it's a Friday night or Saturday night. So I was like, yeah, I'll go to that show.
Oh, cool.
Instead.
Yeah.
So.
Who?
The Darkness.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I believe in a thing called love.
Yeah, I've tried to explain to people before, if you ever want to see a professional rock band perform, you have to see The Darkness perform. I watched Justin get tangled up in his brother's chord in a song, got tangled up, and literally throughout the song didn't miss a beat. They completely untangled themselves, because I pay attention to stupid little shit, and they completely untangled themselves without missing a beat, singing the song, not even letting anybody know what had transpired. And I was like, that's a fucking professional band. Like that right there was one of the, I'm like, and I'm sure some people saw it, but not everybody saw it. And I was just like, that could have been one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
I mean, his vocal range too alone, and that song was so sick. Honestly, it was killer. That album, that would be a band really too. They had that one. Well, that was what album? Because did they have a second single? Because let me look.
Yeah. So I mean, and
tell me. Actually, educate me. Let's see.
So,
Love Is Only a Feeling. I remember that one.
Yeah. Okay. So that was their big one, but Hands Off My Woman. They had a lot of stuff, and their second album was just 100 times better than anything. Like, they're an amazing band. They got known for something. Permission to Land was their first album, but they came out with their second album was One Way Ticket to Paradise.
Yeah.
Or One Way Ticket to Hell. I mean, that album, I gotta tell you, I think I played it 500 times before I pulled it out of my CD player in my car.
Hell yeah. No, that's sick. Yeah, I have to check that one. I'm making note. Yeah, I have to check out that album because that.
Yeah, Permission.
I just lost track. I don't know what happened.
Like my favorite song is Growing on Me. That's the name of the song. And it's before I Believe in a Thing Called Love, which they're all known for. But I mean, they still put out fucking hits. Like, and it's just, again, it's one of those things that it got really big and people thought they were a novelty act. Like, a quick story on them was, you may not know. So Howard Stern heard this band and really, really liked them and brought them on their show. And it was The Darkness. And so people started just thinking they were a novelty act. And then they had I Believe in a Thing Called Love in a commercial with Justin walking down the street. Justin Hawkins, the lead singer. And so like that was kind of like people just thought they were a novelty band, but they're literally like, they're not changing anything. That's the band they are, and they're fucking amazing. And I hate when people are like, oh, The Darkness, you're into that like kind of spoofy stuff. I'm like, it's not. It's fucking rock and roll, and people aren't doing that. So
they're hyper talented. That's just, I mean, his vocally, he's off the charts. Like range
Did you hear him do Radiohead's Fade Out?
No.
Okay, well that's what you're doing when we're done here.
I queued up Growing on Me, and then I'll queue up they covered.
Oh my god! You want to hear vocal range? There you go. That's all you need to hear. The Darkness doing Fade Out by Radiohead.
Yeah, that. Let me see here.
I think it could be my favorite cover of a song of all time that to me almost rivals the original song.
Yeah, I just keep that. That's sick. That's wow. Yeah, no, I have to check. I mean, yeah, I that's what I was saying. I felt like I don't know where I went. I think at that point I was just going into in '05. I was like freshman in college, heading into the DIY punk scene at the time, but not that. Yeah, I think I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's the big thing when you start. So, I mean, I was very much into the early emo scene and punk rock. Like that was definitely my scene. Like looking at a lot of my stuff, like yeah, that was my scene. But when I started to mature and start to listen to everything and
Yeah.
other things and go back to how I grew up listening to music and from my grandparents and listening to jazz and vocal jazz and soul, then to my parents listening to Motown and, easy listening, like it wasn't yacht rock, but maybe Gordon Lightfoot could have been considered yacht rock, but Seeger. And then my brother was like Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, and then my sister, The Cure and Depeche Mode. And so like I grew up and then I found my own thing, which was punk rock. And then emo became like this is my thing. But just being able to like go back and listen with adult, as I call it, with adult ears now, when you find something, you kind of attach yourself to it, and you've always heard this music in the background and you've liked it, but you never spent time with it. You know what I mean? And that's where music, I think once you start spending time with other types of music, not just being like, I'm only a hardcore guy, or I'm only, I only listen to country, or once you start listening with adult ears, and you can find beauty in any style of music, except for country. But that's it.
Yeah. Well, it's tough because some of that pop country, it's just like, come on, it's just junk. But, I love real country, not the,
I love real country. Like, I love real outlaw country. Like, even Willie Nelson, like I love country music. Hank Williams. I love that, but,
George Jones,
once it's gotten into where we have been the past 10, 15 years, I've just been like, so we're just making pop records now. And that's fine. Good on you.
Right. Yeah. But it's not even country. I don't know what it is.
No, it's just pop music, and my definition of the word pop is accessible, and that's it. Your mother can listen to it, your sister can listen to it. Like that's it's just accessible, and that's really what pop stands for.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so we just went down a rabbit hole. So let's go down this bigger hole real quick. The world's about to end. Meteor's going to hit the Earth, create this big giant crater, but all life is going to cease to end. 5 minutes to live. What song do you listen to? You have to listen to a song. What song would you listen to?
That's a toughie. Oh man,
it's the first thing that came to your head. I mean, because that's usually it.
Honestly, just because we've been talking about it, I think Everlong would be up there. Believe it or not. I would pull. Oh man. Radiohead too has been a huge, if we wanted to talk about, obviously we could spend an hour or more. I mean, geez, we could spend 4 hours talking about Radiohead, and just always delivering. Like when we were talking about bands that just, haven't missed a beat. I mean, gosh, we do. But Everlong. Let me think. Even just off rip, maybe a huge one for me, and not even. Which song I'm not sure yet, but a big one for me is the Cranberries. We didn't get to.
Okay.
My sisters, the Cranberries and the Sundays, but maybe top 5, top 10 bands. I mean, the Cranberries are up there for me.
Okay. We can talk about the Sundays offline because they are one of next to Alison Krauss. She had the greatest female vocal of all time.
Yeah, I love Blind and Static and Silence. I mean, my sisters, too. It was cool because they were musical and they did some touring. They were backup singers they did some singing for an artist. She actually was a Christian artist at the time, Jackie Velasquez. Back in the day, they were on tour with her, but so they lived in Nashville. It was really funny. I have this funny story where one of my older sister was hanging out or dating with one like the Kings of Leon before they blew up, which is a funny, that's just like that was like their era. Yeah, they showed me, like, I remember, just listening to the Cranberries and the Sundays with my sisters, and that's like, I would pick, if 5 minutes, we could probably fit in two songs, maybe. But which one? That would be tough.
Yeah, when you get later in life, like I have my staple songs that I just know that I would just want to go out to. So
Yeah.
I'm the asshole who's made a funeral playlist that have the CD in the safe and
Yeah,
zips
no, like turn this on and make people sit down and listen to it.
Here you go. When I go, this is what's playing. So no one gets to choose. I've already put it there for you.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Gosh, we got tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day.
It is. It is St. Patrick's.
We can talk about what do we do? What am I supposed to do here in the city? Where do I go? I'm sure. Is there
nowhere? It'll come to you.
Yeah, I'll be surrounded. I'm sure.
Yeah,
it'll be good.
But all right, I don't want to keep you too much longer. You and I are going to meet up in person.
Yes, you have. I'm serious. You got to take me. I've been to more shows in the last year, and it's been I love it here. It's been a cool experience, to be here, and yeah.
No, absolutely. We will definitely get together, but I don't want to keep you very long. So before we go into our last bit of business here, why don't you tell everybody how to find everything you've already done, throw out all your handles, your socials, all that cool jazz that we have to do now, and having handles and shit for everybody to find out everything we're doing.
The band, we're CURTAIL from Akron and Cleveland, Ohio, and currently I'm here in the city. CURTAIL Music on Twitter, CURTAIL Music on. We just started a TikTok, Shane. We could talk about, trying to just navigate that. We joke with Friend Club Records. Everybody's. It's cool. I don't know. It's kind of fun if you can find a way to still be authentically you and do it. It's nothing. I don't know. We're not into gimmicks. We're not into like trying to trick anybody into anything or God,
if you have to be campy and not yourself, it's not worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing that I actually hate, even with peers, and I'm not, naming anybody. But yeah, I'm just like, oh man, this is like horrible. Like, what are you doing? What are you putting yourself out there like that for? And just like on TikTok or, any social media platform, it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's not even about the music anymore. I don't know what this is. It's crazy. Yeah. We walk a line, Shane. We wouldn't, yeah. But yeah, so CURTAIL Music for Twitter. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Spot all of our, our first album, All Your Luck, is on Spotify now. We've got the first single from When the Sway Sets, IDK, has been out for a week. We got the second single that you will hear, Blue Violet, coming up. We want to do a third single, Shane, and we actually haven't talked about. We haven't decided on which one yet with Friend Club. But yeah, I'm excited.
That's what it should be. So.
Yeah. Wait, which one?
I'll tell you what when we're off the air. What song it should
be. Yeah. But yeah, we just, we're going to be staying pretty active, and hopefully, hopefully to see everybody at a show, in person,
which will be fantastic. Getting around people again. It's fine, guys. Let's just have fun together.
Yeah.
Don't judge me if I don't have a mask on. Okay, that's all I gotta say.
Right. I'm vaccinated and boosted, and and there's.
I've done it all.
When we're not in a season right now, it's perfect time not to have a mask on. Yeah. So.
But all right, man. So let's get into the last segment of the show. It is our weekly 3 segment. It's 3 things that you're listening to right now that you would like people to check out. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to be cool. It doesn't have to be anything new. It can be old. But 3 things you're listening to that you'd like people to check out.
Yeah. Oh, I'm pulling it up right now. So I would go. Definitely. Okay, our friend who actually is going to be, honestly, Jason Kaminsky is a Cleveland singer, songwriter. He's in a punk band Stalemate, but he has his own solo project. It's Jason Kaminsky. His song Supersonic is on my top repeats. I'm looking at, honestly, and this is tough because we're plugging Ohio. I still have, and will always have a huge soft spot for Sun Kill Moon. His cover of Trucker's Atlas, Modest Mouse. Wait, yeah. Let me see. Who did that? That was Modest Mouse, wasn't it? Truckers Atlas, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah, the Sun Kill Moon cover of that is killer. Who else? And then what else? Just lately. Shoot, sorry. And one that I've always liked was this Philly band that's now defunct, Creepoid. I don't know, Shane, if you ever got into them. They were on No Idea. They played like fast, I like Creepoid a lot. They two of their members are now in Lovelorn, which is like a 2-piece dance or like dark 80s dark wave. I saw them at St. Vitus here. That's like down the street from me. If you're ever heading to St. Vitus, let me know. It's like a couple blocks. So that would be it. So I would say Jason Kaminsky, Sun Kill Moons, older stuff in cover of Truckers Atlas, and Creepoid, Lovelorn.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, I know Creepoid. I've had the No Idea mail order, as part of the club where you get the CDs.
Cool. Yeah, sorry. When assuming you, yeah.
But awesome. Good 3. My 3 for this week are, my first one is a band called Card Reader. They're pop, rock, punk, whatever you want to call shit nowadays. But they're from Long Island, New York. They have a single called out. It's called Reminder. That's what I've been listening to. Next is a band from Oklahoma. They're pretty emo, mathy type music. The name of the band is called Ben Quad, Quad, and they got a single, You Gotta Learn to Listen, Lou, is what I've been listening to. And last but not least, these are in no particular order, Jail Socks. It's a rock band from Charlotte, North Carolina. The name of the album is called Coming Down. So those are my 3 for this week.
Hell yeah, I'm writing these down. Coming Down from Jail Socks. Dude, that's cool. I still think Living Room, Long Island guys are still around. They got a new one coming out. I'm going to hang out with them, with Scott. They're all here in the city. They've been friends of our bands and, for years. So that's a cool, but Card Reader, I'm going to check that out. Reminder. I got that one queued up too now.
Awesome.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, Jesse, thank you so much for being here this week. Appreciate what you do. Thank you so much for the music you have provided me with so far. I'm excited to get to see you. And, just thank you for what you do and all your artistry. We out here in the world appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, man. Thanks, dude. Thank you. This is cool. This was fun, too. It's like...
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. It would have been like, wow, that was real shit, and I had it on recording. But thank you so much. So everybody, you know what time it is. Now's your time that you go out, listen to Curtail, and have a great fucking time.
Rock on.
Fight
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.